What's up, guys? So we're going to be tuning my buddy Caesar's 2006 Softail today. He's done a bunch of motor work to it. He's thrown in a 98-inch big bore, Hammer Performance smash level heads, SNS 585 cam, Screaming Eagle throttle body with big injectors. He's got an intake and 2-into-1 pipe. So the bike should run out really good. This video is more of an informational video to give you guys an idea of the benefits of a full dyno tune session. We're tuning today with the Dynojet Power Vision, and that, in my opinion, is the best dyno tuner or flash tuner on the market right now. So as we go through this video and I'm making adjustments and changes, I'm going to be explaining to you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, so you guys can be educated and get an idea of the real world benefits of a full dyno tune session. All right, so what I've done is I just made a base run, basically how the bike rolled in and onto the dyno, and did a fourth gear roll-on. If you're wondering what a fourth gear roll-on is, fourth gear roll-on is kind of the industry standard of getting a snapshot of horsepower, torque, and AFR readings. So you're in fourth gear, starting at around 1500 or 2000 RPMs. You go to wide open throttle and run it out to red line, and take a snapshot of that to show horsepower and torque numbers and AFR numbers. If you can see here on the AFR, there's a dashed line here at 13. 13 to 1 is my target during tuning. That's what I'm trying to get it to run at. You can see what it's actually running at. There's two lines here, that's front and rear cylinder, and they're super rich. They're way down here around 10 to 1 right now. Reason being is he's actually put bigger injectors in this, but the map that's in it is still programmed for stock size injectors. So it's holding that injector open for a longer period of time because it thinks it's a smaller injector, but because it's bigger, it's actually feeding it more fuel. So therefore making it run super rich right now. So horsepower numbers right now, as it sits, is 84 and 95. So when we're all done today with our tune session, we'll be able to find out what our fourth gear roll-on is after tune and get an idea of how much horsepower we gained just from tuning. All right, so what I'm doing now is I kind of have built my base map. I've made some changes. I changed the injector size. I have gone through and kind of smoothed out some of the VE tables. VE is volumetric efficiency. In the map, VE is the one way we control how much fuel is being given at any certain time. You can see this chart here is, pretty big chart. What you have is RPM over throttle position, and this is just VE for the front cylinder only. So there's another map that looks just like this for rear cylinder. So at 50% throttle or 40% throttle and 3000 RPMs, if it's too rich or too lean at that moment, I can go in that very specific spot and add or subtract fuel there. So this is a pretty detailed process. There's a lot of cells there to adjust, and which makes it very precise. But it can be at times time consuming, just going through, probably 200 cells and adjusting each one individually. All right, so I have my base map kind of built. I've uploaded it into the Power Vision unit. I'm going to go ahead and get the fuel map from the Power Vision into the bike. So I'm going to go do that. And while I'm doing that, I'm actually going to put the map in an auto tune mode so that while I'm running on the dyno, it's actually collecting data that we'll then review to make changes back on the computer. All right, so what I've done is I just made my first session of auto tune. Power Vision was in auto tune mode. It was recording data as I was making those runs. And basically what I do is I make a run at a constant throttle position. So basically if I'm reading the map, I'm holding 20% throttle consistently and then just letting it sweep all the way up through the RPM range and making a recording when I do so that I can look at the graph here and I can view my AFR. If I just close all of these and show you just one, you'll see what's going on here. So let's just pull up. So this one right here is 60% throttle. I'm going to close rear cylinder so we're just looking at front. So now I can take this. I know that this is 60% throttle at 2,500 RPMs, and I'm just a little bit lean in that spot. So I'm going to make an adjustment at that spot to try and bring it right down to 13. And I'm going to try and get this line as straight as possible is what I'm shooting for right now. And I'll do that through all of the throttle positions, and I'll make those changes. Then I'll go and do another session and do all those runs again and see how close I got and make some more fine-tune adjustments. Hopefully, cross our fingers, will be good, but sometimes, some bikes take 3 or 4 sessions, some you can get 1 or 2. Just kind of depends on how far out they are. All right, so after the auto-tune session, before I shut the bike off, I extract the data that it learned, and the Power Vision creates a new fuel map for it. So I saved that fuel map. I'm going to extract that new map that it just created out of the Power Vision, and then I can lay that map over the one I was using and see the changes that it wants to make. And then I'll go in and kind of look for some abnormalities and kind of smooth a few things out if I feel like it's doing some weird stuff. We'll update those changes, send that to the bike, and then go into our next tuning session. The time that the auto tune can save is huge, because if I had to manually sit here and type in every one of these cells, this would take me 8 hours. With Power Vision, with the auto tune module, probably cuts that time in half at least. I'm going to go through and make another full set of runs all the way through each throttle position, make a few fine-tune adjustments, and hopefully after that session we should be good to go. So we'll see what kind of results we're getting here pretty quick. All right, so we just finished up with our second auto tune session. Our AFRs are looking pretty smooth. We're getting 13.0 right across the board on just about every throttle position is what we're targeting. So now that we've kind of calibrated our VE tables, we've actually achieved what we're asking for, and that's really what we're trying to do here. I should be able to build the final map, which I'm going to do now, flash the final map into the bike, make a few test runs. I'll make some more fourth gear roll-ons and kind of see what it's doing kind of in the cruising zones and acceleration, stuff like that, make sure it all looks good. And if so, this one will be all done. All right, so we got our final tune flashed in. I'm gonna make a couple of fourth gear roll-ons, see what kind of horsepower we're making. I'll also check like the cruising zone, so I'll kind of put a little bit of load on it and cruise like 75, 65, 75 miles an hour, see where the AFRs are in the cruising zones, and do a couple of wide open runs and see how it looks. All right, so I got our last final runs on here laid over where we started, and just by tuning this thing, I mean the tune was way off, but we have gone from 84 to 104 just from tuning it. I mean, that just shows you that if you don't have the correct tune in your bike, if you just throw a bunch of parts at it and just run on that without tuning it correctly, you're going to be giving up a huge power increase, So getting it properly tuned is, a key to making sure the bike runs the best it possibly can. I mean, if you're going to invest money into performance parts, don't skimp on the last step of getting it tuned correctly. It's the most important piece of the puzzle, and that's proof right there.